So, 3-year-old me is sitting quietly on the carpet in my nursery classroom. My lovely teacher, who smells like strawberries, called us over and wanted to ask us for some help. Now, I don't know what it was about what she said, but I knew I wanted to take that role. I sat up straight. I grew in my spine. My eyes shot wide open. My hands shot up in the air, and she chose me. Yes! I was going to be the milk monitor. The milk monitor, people. Thank you. And with that role, that title came status and power. I was 3. And even at that stage, my power journey had just begun. You see, as we look around the world today, it's really easy for us to see that the human obsession with power and control is harmful and damaging, and in one way or another, killing us all. Now, that's really easy to see as we look at people staring down the barrel of a gun, or as we watch them lose their minds and their souls in political corridors. But actually, in one way or another, we are all stuck in that power obsession, all trying to do what we can to grab our little slice of power wherever we can find it. Now, my nursery teacher, having just chosen the milk monitor, then went on to seal the deal with 2 tiny words. And it's really amazing how 2 words can have so much power and impact that we can't possibly imagine. Because she said to me, "Good girl." And in calling me good girl, I stood 10 feet tall. Now, I'm 6 foot tall today, but that little girl was 10 feet tall. I had that slice of power, and I wanted more. So the journey continues. I was at the front of the class, hands in the air, answering all the questions. Good girl. Even more happened. Even more opportunities. A stars, 10 out of 10, all the time. Smart girl. I would help my mum at home. I'd help in church. I'd help with my brother and sister. Helpful girl. Even more paperwork would come along. And then I grew. I got a bit older, started getting a bit more attention from the boys. Pretty girl. But then life took a turn. I took a few knocks and a few bumps. Not to worry, strong woman. Even more paperwork came along. The love of a good man. Good wife. And then last but not least, the tiny humans came along to grace our presence. Good mother. Every single one of those labels designed to make me smile, for society to tell me just how valuable I was, just how special I am, just how much I meant. And yet every single one of those labels chipped away at the very core of my soul. Why? Was I not a good girl, a smart girl, a strong woman? I was all of those things and more. And yet it wasn't enough. I sat at the kitchen table with my latest child, his eyes again shining up at me, so full of love, looking at me, expectant and waiting. And I looked down at him, and I was exhausted. I was empty. I was flat. I had nothing left. I was shattered. Those labels bore down and crushed the very air out of my lungs. You see, I realized that I had bought into a lie, and my very existence, my very identity had been founded on that lie. Every single one of those labels that I took from out there stopped me from actually making a decision and deciding what those labels should be from in here. You see, when we look up empowerment in the dictionary, we see that the very definition talks about it coming from outside, external, bestowing of power. But that is a lie. Because empowerment, true empowerment, must be and always is an inside job. It must always start from within. So it wasn't that I wasn't a good girl, a strong woman, a good wife, but there were just so many labels. Strong woman, good wife, good mother, which always sounded like good martyr. I couldn't hear any of my own voice, and it just made me feel so low. And as I looked at my son, I realized that I could no longer base all that I wanted for him and all that I needed to be on those lies. And the fact is that there were lies everywhere. But it takes real courage to be a seeker of truth in a society that feeds you lies like cultural comfort food. And so what I realized is that I would need to seek that truth if I was going to be the kind of mum that he and his brothers would need me to be. And so I came to discover that while empowerment was an inside job, the fact is that it grows and it thrives in places that we're taught to be afraid of. And so I want to share 5 of those spaces with you now and to show you just how important and how potent they can be as we stand in our empowerment. So the first of those spaces where we seek to really stand and to grow in our empowerment is where we learn to love ourselves. It's the most important one, Whitney told us. And actually, we live in a society where doing that is hard because they spend all their time telling us, you are not enough, you are too tall, too short, too black, too white, too anything else than what you are. Why? So they can sell you some things to fix you. They'll tell you you're broken so you can buy something to make you whole. But the fact is you are not broken. And not only are you not broken, but you are magic. You are incredible. You are the twinkling in your ancestor's eye. You are that stardust that Nikita Gill tells us about. And actually, scientists, they estimate that the probability of you being here today is 1 in 400 trillion. Trillion. That is an insane statistic that confirms to us something that I've said all along, that you are amazing. So don't allow the voices of this world to teach you that you are less than, to allow you to see yourself as less than, or to stop you from valuing the magic that you have to offer just because you don't like the package. Learning to love yourself. Lumps, bumps, love handles, warts and all, is an incredible opportunity to stand in the power that you were born with. Space number 2 is even more scary because it sounds like this. No, I didn't forget my words. It sounds like silence. And we're freaked out by silence. We live in the noisiest time in human history, with noise and apps and music blaring at us at every turn. And again, it's by design, because the more that you hear that, the less that you can hear that quiet voice within. That voice and that opportunity that gives you the chance to choose and decide what's true of you. There is so much empowerment to be found in silence, because it gives you the chance to hear yourself think, to decide about your thoughts and feelings, to give you a moment to breathe, to give you the chance to get to know that amazing you I just talked about, and to give you the opportunity to really decide and really choose for you. The third space that I want to share with you this evening really focuses on ensuring that we learn to love mess and mistakes and failure. This is something I've learned even more as a mother, because what we call mess, they call work in progress, they call creativity. We're labeling it mess, they're having a whale of a time. And the fact is that we live in a world that is obsessed with 10 out of 10 and gold stars and everything being perfect. And actually, that's not real life. We love it when it's neat, but that's not real life. The fact is that failure has so much empowerment to give us because it shows that we are willing to do something new, that we're trying things we've never done before, and when we fail or when we make a mistake, it shows we have the resilience to stand up and fight another day. And we have never said to those toddlers learning to walk, "Oh my goodness, you've fallen down again, so I think you should probably give this walking thing a rest. You're clearly not up to it." We've never said that to them, so why do we say that to ourselves? Why do we hold ourselves to such an impossible standard? We celebrate every move, every attempt they make, we cheer. We need to bring some of that back into our lives, because as I said before, what that gives us by embracing those failures and mistakes, the world is your oyster when you don't mind not getting it right first time. So that fourth space is even more controversial, because we're told variety is the spice of life. Oh, we need to mix it up. But actually, there is so much empowerment in routine and discipline and habit. Now, the world is really afraid of those things. They will class it as boring and mundane. But actually, I've heard it said that there are no extraordinary acts, which doesn't make sense because we see extraordinary results. But actually, what we see when we see extraordinary results is often the result of ordinary things done with discipline as part of a routine and consistently. So habits give us the opportunity to turn our small into mighty. And therein lies such an opportunity to really stand and bask in our empowerment. And the fifth space that we have really been taught to fear, but has so much empowerment for us, is in learning to love ourselves and the world around us enough to master our resources. And the two most powerful resources are that of money and time. Now, yes, I am talking about money, and what we need to do is to step away from the lies that we've been told about money being the root of all evil. It really isn't. Money is simply an expression in the hands of the holder. Money for you gives you the opportunity to no longer have to negotiate with problems, but to simply finance solutions. It gives you the chance to bring a version of the world into reality that right now only you can see. So in learning to master ourselves around money, ensuring that we use money and money never uses us, it gives us the chance to transform this world into the version that we want to see. And then in considering the mastery of our time, again, we're told, oh, be spontaneous and, do all the things. But actually, mastering our time is so important. Gratitude for this moment, one we will never get back. The opportunity to really stand and bask and breathe in our now. Not worrying about what ifs, but focusing on what is. And remembering that it's called the present because it is a gift. And in the world that we live in today, we can see it's not a gift that everybody gets. And so, in these 5 spaces, there is so much empowerment to be had, to be grown, and to really be cultivated from within. So if I was to share with you ideas worth spreading, and to leave you with some final thoughts, I'll leave you with these. Number one is to say, stop seeking empowerment. Yes, it may seem tough. You may feel that the world or the chips are stacked against you, but actually you are already empowered. You have everything you need within you or within reach. And so your only job is to stand in that power that you already have, to stop giving it away through seeking validation from sources out there, and recognizing that you have the power by standing in what you have in here. Number two would be don't believe the lies. Don't buy into the hype. Do your level best to seek that truth. The fact is, I remember I told you that 2 words were so powerful. The 2 most powerful words in this entire world is I am. Be very careful about what you put at the end of that phrase. Make sure that it is something that will serve you. I am amazing. I am capable. I am resilient. I am going to get through this. I am going to figure it out. I am unstoppable. And finally, it would be to ask you and to encourage you to choose love. Now, love is the most overused and understood word in our language. We use it all the time, and yet, in a world such as this, with everything going on, it can be really difficult to understand and really think about what that might mean in each and every situation. And so I would implore you and encourage you to choose a love that heals. Choose a love that inspires. Choose a love that causes people to rise and to soar like eagles. Choose a love that drives out fear. Choose a kind of love that lasts beyond the grave. And I get it. The world is a really tough place, and it can be really scary, the idea of choosing love in the face of everything that we have and we're facing today. But I want to remind you, and I want to encourage you, that we have been taught so much about love. And the one thing that I know for sure is that love never fails. Thank you.